Welcome back to Afternoon Live. From bullying to loneliness, going back to school can be a challenging time, but encouraging your kids to commit to kindness can make all the difference. Here to help, we welcome back educator, family coach, and author of Rude, Mean, and Bully. What is that? Amy Williams. So great to see you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
This is great timing to talk about this stuff because a lot of us are sending kids back to school this week.
Yes.
Good reminders.
It is.
You have like 5 great tips for us, beginning with naming it and noticing it to encourage kids to recognize kindness.
Right. So when you see your child doing something that's kind for their sibling or for you or for the dog or for someone, or saying a kind word, it's really helpful to name it so that they make a connection between what they did or what they said and that, oh, that's what kind is.
Yeah.
That's what kind.
And a lot of times as adults, we forget to give praise in those moments, right? We can focus on the negative and you go, no, wait, I have to recognize when they're doing it right.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. I see that. That's kind. And just naming it rather than you don't have to make a big deal about it. Just name it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pause in the moment.
And role model it too. I think that might be my second point.
Yes.
Is to role model and even role play what it can look like, especially if your children are going to a new environment. If it's a first day of preschool or first day of school, they might not know exactly what to say. So practicing at home gives them some phrases that they have in their pocket, especially if they're tend to be a little more hesitant or they hold back instead of jumping into social situations. It's really helpful to practice with their important adult that they feel really safe around.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. How about ask kindness questions? What does that look like?
Right. Okay. So often we get into a habit of asking people and children, how was your day? Or what did you do today? And our child will say nothing or fine, and we get 1 or 2 word answers. And one thing to remember is that right after school, they're really tired.
Totally.
Like imagine us if we work a full day of work and somebody says, how was work? Fine. Because we're still shifting from work to home.
18,000 things happened today. How can I define any single one of them?
Yeah. What did you do? Nothing. And when really what they did was they made friends and they practiced sounds and they did this and they did that all day long. So teachers would be really happy to hear that families know, okay, things happen at school. But you can ask specific questions like to reinforce kindness and kind acts. What kindness did you do today? Or what was something that someone did for you that was kind? And that prompts some thinking about, well, someone let me stand with them in line, or they asked me to eat with them at lunch, or to have snack with them, or to be my friend, or to come over for a play date. And that felt kind, right? And it begins that conversation where if kindness is a core value in your home or in your classroom, then you could say, it begins the conversation of, that was kind. And what can you do back? And what other places can you look for kindness?
If it becomes an ongoing conversation, it's probably easier for them to apply in life all the time, in different situations.
Yeah, and it reminds us too, as adults, like what kindness did I do today? Or what was a kind thing that was done to me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds so helpful for all of us. Okay, how about partnering with the teacher?
Yeah, it's helpful to let your child's teacher know that kindness is important to your family, and probably I feel like I could say 100% that teachers would agree with us that kindness in the classroom and in the community is really important. So they're doing lots of things in the classroom to keep that happening in the classroom. So it's helpful to have the conversation and find out, well, what are you doing in the classroom? And here's what we're doing at home, and kind of creating the bridge of keeping that message consistent at home and at school.
Being on the same team with everybody.
Yeah.
That's always a huge help. Okay, how about creating a family kindness ritual? That sounds like a great idea.
A family kindness ritual. Well, that's kind of interesting. There are lots of ways to do that, and you can figure out what you'd like to do as a family community, kind of like around the dinner table or during drive time. You can have a conversation of, okay, we agree that kindness is important, right? Yes, and you start that conversation. What do we believe, and what would be important? What would be meaningful? Depending on the age of the child, to make that a constant in our life. What would we like to do? Is it that at dinner we talk about What kindness did you do? What kindness did you receive? What kindness do we want to do as a family for others? That kind of thing. So you can decide what type of ritual you would like to do, whether it be daily or weekly check-in or on, you know, Wednesday nights at dinner we talk about, you know, so you can make it a consistent topic of conversation.
Yeah. And I could see how you could graduate from little elementary kids up through high school and how that process could change, and you probably could learn a lot about each other too.
Right, right. And as you grow and evolve, the ideas are going to get bigger and more complex. And as the ideas come from the children, they're typically more invested if it's their idea.
Totally.
And then as they're an important adult, you can help guide and shape that and try real hard not to get in the way of, oh, well, we can't do that. But how can we make that happen?
Sure.
And involve them in the problem solving of how we could do that more, and the conversation of what does that feel like, and how must that feel for the other person. So, you know, you're increasing emotional intelligence, you're deepening the sense of how important it is to be kind in the world.
Yeah, great perspective.
Yeah, well, you know, it reminds me of a family story. I don't know, I'm just gonna tell you the story. So I was a teenager sitting with my head in the lap of my grandmother, and she was brushing my hair. It was a ritual, right? And she was always such a joyful, happy person, didn't have anything bad to say about anybody. Almost never, right? And so I asked her, as someone who was about to go off to college and, you know, in that period of nervousness, and I asked her, okay, so what's the secret? Why are you so joyful? How have you done that? And she paused and said, well, you know, you just have to be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
And then she went back to brushing my hair.
That's it.
And I thought she dropped a wisdom right there on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was carried on to my Aunt Barbara. You know, that was on her voicemail message, and she taught her athletes. She was a golf coach, so she taught her athletes to be kind to everyone, and that was a non-negotiable on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wore her pin. It's a little mouse with a golf club.
Wonderful. Kindness, that's all it takes.
Right.
Thank you, my friend. Always so nice to see you. Great stuff.
My
Okay, I want to
pleasure.
let everyone know that Amy now has a Spanish version of her book, Rude, Mean, and Bully. What is that? We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.